Sky Squad, we are back in the building and we need to have a Ponderosa, okay? Because it's going down in the streets, okay? And we got to talk about it, okay? So, as you guys know, Kandi Burrus has been so gracious enough to do interviews with quite a few Black content creators in the YouTube space. And honestly, I could not be more thrilled because it had been on my vision board to speak to Kandi for quite some time. Recently, we've been doing a bit more interviews on the channel, but this literally just kind of came and dropped into our laps. And so we're just thankful for it. And I want you guys to make sure that you are watching all of the content creators that she did interviews with, because she did some amazing interviews. I've seen some of the clips and I can't wait to dive fully into all of the interviews. I just haven't had a moment today because I did Good Day DC today. I had to do Like It or Not last night. I had to prepare clips for Good Day DC today. Then as soon as I got back from Good Day DC, I had 2 more interviews and several meetings. But I did happen to catch the clip of Kandi speaking with House of Aaron, and baby, Aaron got some tea today. Okay? Aaron got some tea today about Kandi and Carlos King. Now, when we spoke to Carlos King before, prior to, in our interview last week, I asked Carlos King about, this beef that was going on with Kandi that I thought was mostly internet chatter. I had seen the clip on Speak On It where she had said, she's not really, they don't really have a relationship. But when he answered the question, I sort of left it at that, And if you guys go back to that video, you will hear he was very complimentary about Kandi. He mentioned running into her at the She by Sheree show. And basically he expressed his love for, her, for girl groups and the like. And he basically said that, he doesn't have to have a relationship with everybody. And that's the last that he would talk about it. So from that point, I just left it at that. I thought to myself, okay, well, it is what it is. And they just don't really speak. I thought that was the end of the story. Okay. So fast forward to my interview with Kandi last night. I had about 15 minutes and we went over about 5 minutes. So there was not really a lot of time to ask all the questions that I wanted to ask. And I kind of debated about, asking about the Carlos question, but ultimately decided not to because I also wanted to make sure that I adhered to the time limit. And I wanted to get in some other questions that I wanted to make sure I got in questions about, like her Broadway production, because I know that's important to her, as well as, questions about Todd, because I know that was something that in my mind she had expressed, kind of talking to. I really wanted to speak to her and Todd's working relationship and get in some questions about the reunion as well as that escape show. So with that being said, thank God Aaron was able to ask this question and he got some clarity on exactly what it is. So I'm going to bring up the clip. I'm not going to play it. You guys need to go visit Aaron's Instagram page, House of Aaron. Visit his YouTube page, House of Aaron on YouTube. I will place links for this in the description down below. Also, I want you guys to follow him on TikTok as well, and be sure to follow the Neighborhood Talk as well, because they happen to capture, the clip that he posted online. And in this clip, Kandi basically says to him that she can't mess with Carlos King because he tried to steal Escape's life story and sell it to TV One. So to give you guys even more context into it, and I apologize for those people who like, very fast paced, like, give me the tea videos. But I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm taking my time with this story simply because I feel like it is very nuanced. And I want to make sure that I get the information as factual, as verbatim what was said as possible. Okay. So in the clip, and I'm reading the transcription from Urban Bell Mag. So you guys, I will place all links in the description so you can read everything that I'm talking about, because we got a lot to talk about with K.Michelle as well. So trust all of this is tied together. So anyway, um, Kandi says, my issue with Carlos is that he is the one who stole my group's life story and sold it to TV One. And for that, I just can't get past it. He had been working with us that entire season on The Real Housewives of Atlanta. That last year he was with us. Him and Todd had already had some little issues, business issues, because they were doing a production company together. So they had some things that they had dealt with personally. But, we were trying to move past that and still work together on the show because he executive produced, what was that, season 9 or whatever it was that last year. So let's say the season wrapped in November. In December, someone tells me, I was talking to a friend and I was like, hey, we should do a movie about our life or whatever. It was a director that Todd and I were speaking with, and they were like, somebody's already doing it. I was like, what do you mean somebody's doing that? So in my mind, I was thinking it was one of my group members or something. They were like, not, yeah, it's a network that's already, I took a meeting about directing it. I was like, what? So then she says, now, mind you, we wrapped the season at the top of November, right? December, I'm hearing this movie has been sold to a network. So I come to find out a couple of weeks later, I'm basically trying to figure out what's going on. Come to find out it was, oh, and sidebar, his other producing partner, one of the producers that worked for him, who was also at the time that I thought was cool, he called my mom and said, oh, yeah, we want to interview you because we want to do a documentary about girl groups or something. So we want to ask you questions about Escape. So then Kandi says, my mom was going to do it or whatever, but come to find out, he is the person that did a deal with TV One to sell our life story and was going to try to ask my mother questions about us to unknowingly get more information, I guess, for the show. So anyway, I just thought that was one of the lowest things anybody could ever do. Okay. So it was also asked how it was possible for Carlos to get the rights to their story, and Kandi said that he didn't. She says he didn't have the rights to our story. What I found out, because of course I was calling lawyers and everything, I found out at the time that when you're a public figure, people can do unauthorized stories about you. And at the time, we had already done what's the behind the music on TV One or whatever, unsung. So they had certain information that I guess they could base the movie off of. Then she says, but my thing, never once, even after all of them years we've been around each other, he never once told me that he was trying to do a movie about us and to go behind my back and to do that. That's our life story. I was like, I can't F with him ever again. I did reach out to him at first. He didn't answer the phone because I had just heard it, so I wasn't sure it was him. So I was calling him like, yo, what is this? She says he didn't answer my calls, but then when he did some things to reach out to the network to try to get the whole situation shut down, then all of a sudden he reaches out to me. And I ain't want to talk after that. I was like, I don't want to talk to you. I don't have to ever talk to you again. And that's just how I feel. She says, I think our spinoff was the first show that he was the executive producer for. I literally fought for him to be producer of my show, to be the lead executive producer. So to have someone who you went out for, and I always respected him as a producer, to do that to me, I have no respect for him. And so for him to now, every time I turn around, he has something to say about me, I just give him no energy. But that right there, my life story, that ish gets me emotional and pisses me off. I don't have nothing for him. Okay. So that is what she had to say about the situation in full. And again, please go watch House of Aaron's video on his YouTube channel, House of Aaron. Aaron has been doing his thing for quite a long time in this space. And I just want to make sure that I give him the props that he deserves for what has turned out to be a viral video at this point. Now, the story gets even crazier. And again, shout out to the neighborhood talk for catching all of this information that's out there today. Okay. So the next thing is, and actually, I want to go back to something. Kandi was very emotional in this interview. You could hear it in her voice. Clearly, this situation has really touched something in her and made her extremely upset. So it was tough to watch. I will admit, and I have to try to be as sensitive as I can about the situation because having interviewed both people, it's like such a weird space to be in. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm gonna give you the tea because that's what it is. That's what I do. All right. So then let's move on to what is going on with K.Michelle, Memphis, and Carlos. So again, our friends over at the Neighborhood Talk, I mean, they be on it. And in the comments, I don't know if you guys remember who Memphis is. Okay. So Memphis is the person that K. Michelle had indicated had put pause on her during season 1 of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. And that was sort of the reason she confessed this information to Rashida, who is also good friends with Toya Wright, who was at least that was Toya's bae. Okay. So Rashida took issue with that, and people did not believe that this whole situation happened to K. Michelle. And I think that they didn't want to believe it at the time because a lot of the people that were around on the show at that time were cool with Toya, who was with Memphis. Okay. I don't know if they're still together or not because I don't really keep up with them because they ain't on reality TV, but we're going to break down exactly what happened. All right. So, Memphis, we'll get into more detail about what happened with him and K. Michelle, what really happened in just a second. So, he hopped on to the bandwagon and he is claiming that he says he commented under the post and says that's pretty effed up. He's also the one that told K. Michelle to tell people that I put pause on her before, all for ratings. K told me, my brother, right? Way to go, Los. Okay. So I had to go and do a little digging on this situation because I was like, I don't recall that being the way that whole situation went down. So, what I did was I had to do a little digging, okay? And so, when I did a little digging, I found that um he actually lost the defamation case against K. Michelle, okay, as reported by the Atlanta Journal and Constitution, okay, because in 2012 he lost the defamation case against the owners of VH1 and the producers of their show Love and Hip Hop Atlanta after K. Michelle, known as his former girlfriend, accused him of putting pause on her and embezzlement on the program. Okay. Now, apparently, he was never named on the show, right? But all of the sites, the blogs and the media outlets, they pretty much mentioned him. Okay. Then on social media and in interviews, he denied all the allegations, saying that it wasn't him. Now, in the lawsuit filed in the United States North District of Georgia on September 5th in 2012, he asked for 15 million in compensatory damages and 50 million in punitive damages. Okay. But to win the case in court, he had to prove K. Michelle's allegations that he put pause on her were false and that he is more of a private figure than a public figure. Okay. Now, he also had to prove that the allegations were injurious to his reputation and was published with a degree of fault, at least amounting to negligence. Now, he lost that case as he was deemed a public figure as a former TV host and the husband of singer and reality star Toya Wright. And the production company exercised due diligence concerning the putting pause on her claims. And the record shows that they reasonably believed K.Michelle during the production of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, and that they still do today. Okay. Now, in the depositions, he acknowledged that he got into a physical altercation with K.Michelle in a Memphis hotel altercation in 2009 and has spent money from Jive Records' budget for jewelry not to help her career. Okay. He also allegedly sent a message threatening to end K.Michelle's son. Okay. And that context of the text was actually bleeped out of the show, negating its importance to the case. All right. Now, allegedly, well, not allegedly, basically, it goes into detail about an argument where he admits to putting a pillow or his hands over her mouth to shut her up, and that she reasonably thought that he was going to end her. Now, he later apparently tried to backtrack from these initial statements. All right. Um, but she wasn't actually K.Michelle wasn't actually a defendant in the original case, but she was added later. And the other defendants were Viacom, which owns VH1, and the production companies that produced Love and Hip Hop. Okay. So I don't know why he chimed in on this whole situation. Um, because, sir, the record states otherwise. So it's a lot of things going on right now in the media. I'm just trying to catch my breath today. Um, listen, I don't even know what to think about all this. Y'all let me know what y'all thoughts are in the comments section down below. Whatever happens next, if anybody else say anything next, if we get any comments publicly from either party, we will definitely be on the case. All I know is what I was told, and all I now know is what Kandi said, and now I also know what Memphis said, but I also know what the court docs say. So anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. I will catch you guys in the next video.